So you clicked this video thinking Liam Dunbar dog walks Scott McCall, but what if I told you were wrong? But Jade, what about the time where Liam beat Scott in season 5 episode 10? He completely destroyed him. Well, dear viewer, did you bother to include any of the context as to why Scott lost that pretty unfair fight? Well, I'll include that context once we're through the introductions. Anyway, welcome back to Jades Corner. On this newest edition of the rebooted Fantasy Fights series, we'll finally be settling the score on who would really win in a fight to the death between Alpha Scott McCall and Beta Liam Dunbar. These two powerful werewolves from Teen Wolf possess incredible powers and abilities that would make a rematch between them totally one-sided. So join me as we break down the epic battle between these two werewolves regarding strength, speed, agility, durability, endurance, combat experience, and hacks. But before we begin this fight to the death, if you're new here, subscribe, hit that like button, and ring that notification bell to stay up to date on all things supernatural, including these thrilling battles. And let's see who wins this time in the rematch fans have been dying to see.
It's survival of the fittest on a global scale. Who among the challengers will make it to the top? Are you ready? It's the battle of the century. Let's get started. This is it, the fight we've all been waiting for. Anything can happen now. Fight!
So in the strength category, it's obviously going to go to Scott McCall. This is pretty self-explanatory. He was complimented by Sebastian Vallet for being extremely strong, and his adult self, which counts as part of this video too, is far stronger than his teen wolf, and his adult self is far stronger than his teenage self by a strong margin. It's not even remotely close, the gap in power between the two. And Liam, for him, his most impressive feat is fighting Howin, a hellhound, which would be impressive if Howin was fighting at full power, but he was already fatigued fighting Jordan Parrish, so it wasn't as impressive as a feat as a lot of people make it out to be.
What will happen now? Will the tide of battle turn?
For speed, it has to go to Scott McCall. He's naturally faster than Liam. I don't think this is even up for debate. And for Liam, he's never seen in the series or Teen Wolf the movie surpassing any of Scott McCall's on-screen speed feats. So I think this goes to Scott. It's pretty self-explanatory who takes this anyway, so.
And the battle continues.
For agility, once again, it's going to go to Scott McCall. He's more agile when fighting, and his best agility feat is when he dodges multiple punches from Peter in Smoke and Mirrors. Like, he had freaking ultra instinct, bro. It was like he was blessed by the gods in that fight, and eventually when he got the upper hand against Peter, he was dodging like he was Goku in episode 109 and 110 of Dragon Ball Super, just straight dodging his shit. It was the funniest thing to see Peter get clapped by ultra instinct Scott McCall. For Liam, he's not really agile in fighting, but he fights similar to other betas in the series, which doesn't really say much because most of the other betas in the series suck. Agility's going to Scott McCall here.
Let's keep it up!
From the death or near death experiences multiple times under different circumstances, with his most impressive being when he died for 15 minutes when he was killed by Theo Rakin in the same episode. We're gonna get to that Liam and Scott original fight later in this video, don't worry, I will definitely address it. But in that same episode, he was killed by Theo Rakin after being beat down by Liam Dunbar in the most unfair fight I think Scott has had in the entire series. He was brought back to life by his mom after she pounded on his chest after he was dead for 15 minutes. The dude was dead, laid out flat on his back, looking up at the lights in La La Land like a freaking jobber, and his mom brought him back 15 minutes after the dude was already dead. Scott has to take the durability category for me. And for Liam, he got one tap by the beast and nearly died on impact after getting hit by his claws. And if he didn't have superhuman durability, he would have for sure died as soon as he got hit. So yeah, durability is going to Scott McCall here.
Pick up the pace!
For endurance, it's going to be a tie, and this is the first point that Liam gets finally, and the only point he's probably going to get. Both of these guys should have similar endurance. They don't really have anything that really tops the other in terms of endurance feats as far as I remember. This is going to go to both of them.
Who will emerge victorious?
For combat experience, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Scott McCall gets this 10 times out of 10. Liam doesn't really have nearly enough experience as Scott, so we're not even gonna remotely go into detail with this, because anybody who's seen Teen Wolf should already know Scott has more combat experience than Liam by default.
Pull out all the stops. This match decides the winner.
Same with experience here. Scott, again, self-explanatory, been a werewolf longer, has a better understanding of his powers as a true alpha. Over Liam, again, doesn't have nearly enough experience as Scott as a werewolf. Scott beats him out as a werewolf by, I think, like a year. An extra year of experience is still more experienced than the other person. So yeah, this, once again, will be going to Scott McCall.
It all comes down to this. This is the last round.
And for hacks, once again, goes to Scott. Scott can do certain things as a true alpha that are exclusive to him, and as an alpha, by default, he has hacks that Liam doesn't. And well, for Liam, he's a beta werewolf. Should literally be all you need to know.
Which of these two challengers will walk away a champion? This bout will determine who is the strongest once and for all.
All right, now time to address the elephant in the room before we get to who wins this fantasy fight in this video. The fight between Scott and Liam, the original Scott and Liam fight from season 5, episode 10 of Teen Wolf that aired so long ago. The reason why people say Scott McCall is weak is primarily due to that fight. Now, ever since I started this channel back in 2017, everybody and their grandmother for donkey years have been telling me that Scott McCall is weak primarily because he lost to his own beta. Now, there's other fights Scott has in the series, the Kincaid fight, blah blah blah, this and that people tell me that people use as that people use to justify Scott being weak. In my opinion, and in the video that I made back in 2022, the Scott McCall is inconsistent video, I'm going to stand by that video here. I do think that Scott is inconsistent in his power. I do not think that he is weak. And I think that that point is disproven by his performance in Teen Wolf the movie. He's clearly not weak in that. That Scott McCall is weak argument is kind of nullified by the fact he was able to take out opponents in the movie that he couldn't even deal with in the TV show as a teenager. So he clearly got stronger, and he was pretty strong then, especially if the Beast of Jevadon is commenting you, and he's physically the strongest creature in the whole verse. Yeah, if you're getting compliments from the Beast, you gotta be strong somewhat. But anyway, time to finally get to the fight. The reason why people say Scott lost to Liam is because people think that that fight was a fair one-on-one fight, and every time people mention it in comments, they always forget the context behind why this fight went the way it did in the first place. This fight was all calculated by Theo. For like a majority of season 5 part 1, Theo literally injected Wolfsbane into Scott McCall's inhaler, and Scott unknowingly, I don't know how he didn't sense or find out it was Wolfsbane, but he was literally inhaling the Wolfsbane. I think they literally state it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It was one of those two. But anyway, can you imagine inhaling Wolfsbane as a werewolf for a couple of weeks and then being weakened so much by literally being inside your system while you're fighting your beta, who has a significant power boost by the supermoon? And even though the supermoon gives you a power boost too, it's not as much as you would like it to be, because the Wolfsbane is holding that, is by default nullifying that power. That fight was just unfair to begin with. Scott losing, I'm not gonna lie, did look pretty bad, and you could argue he should have had enough strength to defeat Liam, and you know, there could be some truth to that. But I do think because of the circumstances surrounding that fight, it went the way it was supposed to in the context of what was going on at the time in the first half of that season. And clearly we see afterward, Liam is not able to deal with the same creatures that Scott fights. Scott was able to fight the Beast and knock it one tap. Weiss was like literally going back and forth with it and not standing down. Meanwhile, the first time Liam decided to fight against it in season 5, episode 17, one-on-one, he nearly died after getting one-shotted. Liam is not as strong as Scott. Anyone after this video is still trying to make that argument is being disingenuous as hell, and is literally, I'm just gonna say it, they're an outright Scott McCall hater, and they just don't like Scott, because you can't use the Scott and Liam fight as a legitimate for your argument to say that Scott McCall is weaker than Liam Dunbar. It's just not the case, and clearly we see throughout the series he's not weaker than Liam. Hopefully this can be finally put to rest for good after all these years. And now on to who wins this video. It's pretty obvious. The winner is Scott McCall. Sorry, Liam.
You lose.
Finish him. Death awaits you.
Fatality.
All right, now, as I mentioned before, we can hopefully put this donkey years long debate to rest for good. If you enjoyed this video though, don't forget to leave a like as it helps this video perform better in the YouTube algorithm and reach more people. And just a quick shout out, thank you guys for the recent blow up of the rebooted Fantasy Fight series. It is doing wonders for my channel right now. My channel has been kind of out of the algorithm loop for the last year because 2023 was probably the hardest year for my channel because I went through a lot of stuff last year personally and in terms of like mental health and whatnot. Yeah, we're back, and I just want to say thank you real quick because the Fantasy Fights videos have been doing really well for my channel. So thank you guys for watching, liking, and sharing the video and commenting. It all helps get these videos out to more people. So comment your thoughts down below on the video. I go through all the comments, so any feedback is appreciated. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, consider making that day today. When you subscribe, don't forget to hit that bell icon and set those notifications to all so that you never miss a future video. Also, don't forget to join my Discord server linked below, and all my socials are also linked below in the description as well. And until next time, this is Jade signing off. Peace. And now a sneak peek and tease for the next Fantasy Fights video.